Traders, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be going over the Nasdaq 100, the SP 500, exactly how you're moving on the stock market. Is the stock market going to continue crashing? Is this just kind of setting up for another bounce back up to new ranges? What exactly are we looking at, and how did we know exactly what was going to happen today? And how do we make money trading on it? That's ultimately what we're going to be covering in the video. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I have to ask you to consider doing so. I'm posting videos every single day, giving you free giveaways as well here on the channel as well. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're checking it out every single day to see how the market is moving again as you see fit to make money in the market every day. So what we're going to do is go back to this chart and we're just going to look at overall what's happening. Now, the big thing on the Fed and everything that was kind of mentioned today was right here. And I didn't get a chance to specifically go through each section of the Fed minutes. I'll have a deeper guide for everyone going into tomorrow. I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it today. I just got really caught up near the end of the day when it was released. But the big things that I want to announce and kind of go over with this was essentially the 75-point hike. So basically the biggest thing that's going to affect the market right now, and kind of why I was bullish going into this, was my guess about what they were going to say here. Participants judged that an increase of 50 to 75 basis points would likely be appropriate in the next meeting. So them not mentioning a full point hike is extremely bullish in my opinion, and just good for the market as well. If you get a 75 BPS hike, I don't think it's going to really affect the market in a negative way as far as dropping immediately. I still think we have room to go down. I don't want people to, think that I'm switching my narrative from thinking that there's more downside. However, I think short term you could see a little bit of a rally from here as well. I'm going to show you in the charts why I think so and things going into that. So that's my big statement there. But as we look in this as well, you're going to see a lot of these statements about being entrenched at higher levels, slowing of growth and things like that. We're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow in tomorrow's video, but I want to announce that these statements that they're saying, for instance, let me show you, it's going to be better to draw you a picture of what's really happening here. So let's imagine that you have this house, right? And one day we decide we are going to finish painting this house, and we're going to paint it red. Okay. So in January, we start painting this house red, right? We're painting it. But we don't have a surveyor come over to say this house is officially done. The property has been done and it's ready to be quote unquote listed on the market when we're going to sell it as a red house, right? This is all hypothetical. It's not how it's done in real estate, just so you know. And so they come in, 3 months later and say, okay, the house is officially red, right? Now let's say this house is the stock market. And let's say growth has been slowing since January. Let's say GDP rates have been getting cut. Let's say that there's dangers of a recession since January, right? The Fed just hasn't, I don't want to say observed, but recognized that these are real things happening. Now, is this faulty? Is this lying? I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. But now they're coming out and they're saying economic growth is slowing. GDP, we have to be on the, weary that it could miss. We could go into a recession. These are all possibilities. Well, the reason why we're not seeing a negative outlook on the stock market, in my broad opinion, is because of the way that our government has been handling this. And so now you're seeing Powell and people say, quote unquote, bearish things, and we shoot up. And so when I expect them to say certain things like this, it's like, well, you're saying this 3 months late. So when I get into that later in the next video tomorrow, just know that a lot of this stuff has already been factored into the market. But now, in my opinion, the market's not really trusting what they're saying, and it's not really respecting what they're saying. But the key area that I want to highlight about Fed minutes, and the most negative part about this, was the fact that they even acknowledged that the public might lose faith in the Fed with handling this recession and handling the inflation. That's the word they use, inflation. They use the recession word. They're not going to use the R word, right? So they're not going to mention that one. But I want to, be very clear that if that happens where it's official that the public has lost faith in them, things will get really bad. So let's get back into the charts. Let's talk about what's going on here. Also, too, really quick announcement. If you did the giveaway yesterday, you typed in yesterday, these are the winners: Michael Reyna, Tyler White, and Flapjack. I just picked these. I like their comments. I don't know why, but anyways, so these are guys I like. I picked 3 people instead of 1. But anyways, yep, comment down below. Please DM me on Twitter. One of them already got in, so anyways, get in the Discord for free. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Nasdaq. What's happening here now? Nasdaq 5-minute chart. We're going to pull up some of these indicators real quick. I'm gonna just pull up opens and I'm gonna pull up volume. So looking here on the day you traded in a channel, right? Really quick, I posted in Discord. There wasn't a lot of trades going on for me. Beginning of the day, we had an Amazon trade, and that one did pretty well. But going into the rest of the day, there was really nothing else going on. So, right, you can see in Discord what we traded this morning. Where were the contracts? What we ended up getting? All the way right here, 9 a.m. 11/14s at $1.40 open. Stops at 110. They got to 190. I didn't cut, and then they got back up higher to $2. I started cutting there. Bought some NVIDIA calls as well, 148. Ended up cutting those around $2 as well. That was the trade there. It's basically what happened. Those are both trades that happened on the day. That's what I was looking at. First trade, beginning of the day was this. But going to the chart, this is what happened. You had a little bit of action going on. You had this sideways chop back and forth, basically since pre-market or after hours last night, back and forth in this range of 11.87 all the way down to around 11.74. Really tight range there. The SPY, however, looked really weak, kind of going into the beginning of the day. So all day, you had some downside sliding you down, and then going into those Fed minutes, you just slowly were inching back up, which showed me the relative strength on the market, which is why I ended up getting calls on things like NVIDIA and betting more to the bullish side of things. I told everyone yesterday I expected upside. You got a little bit of it. You didn't really get as much as we wanted. But honestly, if you go back here, we got ultimately exactly what we were looking for. You got to push almost all the way up to around 12 flat. Literally what we said yesterday, you got it. You know, people were really mad about me yesterday saying that we're going to have a bullish outlook. They called me crazy. Go read the comments. But once again, guys, when you come to the channel, know you're going to get an honest viewpoint of the market. I'm not going to BS you. I'm going to tell you exactly what I see happening, whether you like it or not. So again, cheers. Hope you made money on this. You traded really well. And all day long, you can see how you're mounting this, right? So you had those previous lows right here, our previous highs around 11.74. You see how you were mounting this? This is key range and key knowledge to know how to trade this, right? Just over and over, testing and testing and testing. This is all bullish territory. This is bullish price action, pushing you back up. That's why in the Discord, it's not so much as me just posting and telling you what trade to take. But if you can see these trends, you don't really need my help that much. If I can show you how to look at these trends up and down, up and down, up and down, you're going to get more trades than maybe I'm taking on the day, because I'm not really looking for scalps. I'm looking to make a key percent per trade. So I might take one or two, but you can take every single one of these trades on the upside, back to the downside, up, down, up, down. And if you go look at stocks like Meta, NVIDIA, etc., you're going to be able to trade this trend every single time, up and down, up and down, up and down. But look at these stocks. Meta went absolutely nuts, straight to the top. Amazon, one of the big boys, straight up, about to almost 116 here. NVDA climbing out of the trenches, back up almost to 154, 153 on the highs. You know, we're catching all these plays. Why? Because we're watching how the market's moving right now, right? We're not really going for swings, but we're taking the opportunities given to us. So what we're going to do right now, look over NQ, exactly where I see us going, how I see us reacting, right? So what I want to highlight here is if you hold above this range, if you can stay above about 11.9, 11.88, I think you have room to pop back up to 12. If you get above 12, 12.3 is where you're aiming for. So if we get above this region and you start getting a key mount above this, coming back down, I'm aiming for about 12.25 all the way to 12.3. Maybe not in a straight line, but that's what I'm looking for. There's key liquidity up here, and that's where I'd be targeting overall on NQ and Nasdaq. So basically, you got 12.15 all the way up here, 12.25. That's where you're targeting there. SPY, this is the big question. I think SPY, I'm telling you, if you see the thumbnail today, basically, this is it. It's gorgeous. I think you got a key liquidity area. I think you look beautiful. I think you have a lot of room going into tomorrow. The sell-off at the end of the day was a bit of a surprise. I didn't really see that happening. But again, I was done before the end of the day. So kudos and happy that was not anything to do with that. I think you have a key areas that I will be watching. And in particular, I'm going to go all the way up to this range about right here, about 389 to 390. That's where I'm targeting. Maybe you get some wicks up to 393. But ultimately, this is my upside target where I see us going, 389, 390. Again, if you get back below this previous level where you were kind of respecting, in my opinion, and get it come a little bit further down, about right here, I think you will start turning back to a bearish outlook here. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So if you get back below 382, 383, in my opinion, you're pushing back down to 376. So as long as you can stay in this region, I'm aiming for a test of 389, 390, more upside on some of these stocks. Now, again, pretty clear, pretty direct to the point when it comes to looking at SPY. Looking at SPY futures, ES, the 24 hours going right now as well. When it comes to ES, exactly what I'm looking at here is you're holding above that support about 38.40. I like that. However, you still have a little bit of this key area here, almost all the way up to 38.70. So in my opinion, you got to get above 38.70, start really pushing back up. There's a lot more resistances here on ES, but when it comes to ES, again, I'd be targeting around, almost 39.50 to 39.40 up here for the top side test. Again, this is where you got to be looking, in my opinion, all the way back up here. But again, in my opinion, again, this range here, it's going to be very unclear just where you're at because there's so many resistances here. So again, when I'm looking here, I'm looking more at NQ just because I believe this is going to be easier to spot the overall resistance and the overall trend as a whole. So that's where I'm going to be sticking for myself, is watching NQ and those key targets. Now, I'm going to show you a few stocks that I'm liking and things that I'm looking at in the economy overall. NVIDIA, what I'm targeting here for the upside pressure is 155. As long as you can stay above today's daily open around 150, I'm looking pretty bullish here, pushing back up. If you get back below the level of 149, this monthly level, I'm looking for new lows to be made. So yes, if you get back below this key level here, I'm looking for puts all the way back down to new lows, possibly double bottom, at least down to 144. Stay above this range. What are we looking for? Boom, a retest of 155 to 156. Next up, what are we going to be looking at is Amazon, the most bullish stock on the market right now. I've been trying to let people know about this one as well. Going to the 1 hour chart, if you look here, it's the biggest head and shoulders and the most obvious head and shoulders you're going to see on the market, and it's been playing out day after day. I said if you're going to go short on the market, Amazon was the best hedge because it had nothing but upside. Looking at here, basically for the past 3-4 years, you've been holding this 102 level here. Going, if you reference back on the chart, this is a huge level. So the fact that you're bouncing makes perfect sense. And if you're looking for a retest all the way back up to around 144 to 145, that's where I'm targeting here on the longer term. If you want to be a little bit less aggressive, short-term targets, you're going for 118, 117. Then your next level, in my opinion, is 122. That's where I'd be targeting here. Data calls are even due. That's what I'm looking at there. Now, in my opinion, the most bullish chart, the craziest chart, the best looking chart there is right now is oil. Some of you may have been watching oil. This is literally the past 4 or 5 months on the 4 hour chart. If you're looking at this level, we've talked about this a lot right here. $94 a barrel to 95 is a major demand. It's a huge level. Buyers continue to step in. It's one of the best buying opportunities that there is. And if you look at some of these stocks, Chevron, boom, major dump. We look at Exxon, boom, major dump. In my opinion, you're getting value on these plays. Now, Exxon could drop down to more of like 80 to 79, but in my opinion, swings here look very good. I'd be targeting easily back up to these local ranges of about $90 to $92. You can get, I think, August 19th calls right now, $90 for under $2. The 100s I think are below 50 cents. So those are very great value, and all the open interest is stacked very high. Now, when we look at the broad scale market, just giving you a viewpoint of what's going on with buyers and sellers, going over to QQQ, looking at tech, it's still pretty even. Puts and calls, very even. So you're seeing a pretty decent sized market, and you could still get some upside, in my opinion. SPY, again, very even. You've seen a lot of these numbers be skewed to the short side. You're finally getting back to normal. A lot of these calls coming in too, if you look at the scale of them, a lot of the calls are very big orders in comparison to puts, which some of these are very small orders as well. So I do like that. One more thing before I let you out of here. VIX has been coming down. I'm looking for VIX to come back down to 24 bucks before we start getting any type of dip. So again, I see more downside on the broad scale market based on all these indicators. The last thing I want to talk about as well is going to be the 10-year yield. This is something we kind of expected, and I want to point out a few key things here. Now, what did I say? Going into Fed minutes, right? This was the last time you had Fed minutes. When you had that, guess what happened? You bottomed out on your yields and you started mooning back up to new highs. Guess what happened here? Fed minutes happened, and boom, you start going crazy. Chances are yields start going back up, which cues back into a dip. Does that mean it happens instantly? No. These yields set up. They are a lagging indicator for a dip. That's why I like them. That's why they help you out here. Looking at DXY as well. DXY went absolutely bananas as well, which is all setting back up for more of a dip on the economy. But I still believe in the short term, we could see a little bit of a bounce before we start to see that next level drop. So for me, when it comes to trading, I'm looking at short-term upside with short-term trades to the upside. Long term, still see downside. We're still in the fear of a recession. More downside across the board will be coming. More videos are coming as well. Tomorrow will be the in-depth video going over Fed minutes. Have a good one.